50 and we're hanging out again. Getting all the dives that we used to run. Times changed and it's not as much fun. The bar scene ain't what it used to be. Listen to this song and you tell me. Well, we need a bar where when you walk in, you can tell the difference between women and men. Girls with short hair and guys with long, that just seems so damn wrong. Went up to this girl and I pinched her butt, but when he turned around, I said...
Right, good morning, welcome back. Now, this is the old abandoned Street Fighter tail unit. If you remember, I made that from 2 Harley-Davidson tanks about 2 years ago and chucked it up on the bench in favour of something a little bit more dinky. And this is now going to go to donate its shapes and curves and loveliness to become the nose cone for the new Harley project. So there we are. First thing I've got to do is cut all this stuff off the front, which is just fiberglass and wire and flotsam I don't need, and reveal all this steel work and see exactly how much of it I can use and how much of it I can make into a gorgeous, sexy nose cone for my Harley Davidson. Let's get stuck in. Right, so I want to share some thought processes at this point where I am so you can follow it if you want to. If you're going to do this sort of thing, maybe it'll help. That's what I've come up with so far as the cover for the headlight. That's going to cover the light itself at the same angle as the forks. I'm actually going to slant that back to match the rake of the forks. That's quite obvious really. And then when I cut the hole in it, I'll French that hole, which will give it deeper Frenched at the bottom than it is at the top because it'll be laying back. And the hole, the light will stand upright in that Frenched hole. I think that'll look quite smart. So once that's in place, I've then got to come across the top. What I said about putting that piece over the top of the handlebars. Now that's this piece that I chose for it to go like that. Now, problem I've got is looking at this, these two corners here on this edge, they are quite severe corners. They're quite a fold. And The rest of this is not. That's quite a gentle curve. So trying to fold that into that, it's never really going to look good, and cutting and adapting that, do I either want that fold or that fold? You can't have both. So just thinking of maybe putting that to one side just for a minute, and I'm looking at the back edges of the tank. These work quite well. When you cut things and then swap them over each other, as I've done with this, you can make different shapes. And what I'm thinking on this, because these parts from the back of the tank follow the same curve there, I can pie slice and then curve them down. Done it before, it kind of works okay. You get it 90% and then the body filler it in, you get a nice curve in the sheet metal afterwards. Again, if I had an English wheel and the skills to use one, I could probably do it in one piece, but there we are. I'm doing it Frankenstein style. So that there and that part there kind of work to give me the top of the fairing. And all I've got to do then is curve it backwards at an angle, and that will be easy enough. As I said, pie slicing it, bringing it in, welding it and so on. You'll see that as it goes on, but for now I think that's a better way to go, to use that metal as the curve than to try and use that. I can save that for another day. I'm going to make an air filter cover as well, possibly. Come back to that. So this is the next stage. Putting these two pieces together to match the top of that is the next task, and it begins with simplifying this. Now where they overlap, as you can see, where I've overlapped them, that won't do because it will never look right. It's got to be one piece of metal. So the next task, and this is a little fabricating technique if you wish, where you've overlapped two pieces of metal to get a shape, slice down the center of them completely, cutting right through both pieces of metal, then you get the spare from that top piece on there, the spare from the bottom piece in there, take them out of the way, you get a butt joint, you can tack weld along it and grind it back. So that's the next thing. And there you go, because I cut that in one cut, that joint now absolutely fits perfectly. All I've got to do is get the magnets, hold it together, tack it and weld it all the way along, and then that's the first piece of the nose cone made. Right, that's the first bit. Pass them. Right, awesome, done. There it is. That's the focal point. That's the front of the fairing. The thing you're going to see coming at you. It's going to be a hole cut in there, yeah, and then be Frenched, and then metal underneath and up the sides, and I've still got to put the top on. That's scary, but that's it. I'm happy with that bit so far. Chuffed the bits, lovely, nice and solid. Now if I had an English wheel and the skills to use one, I could probably have made that from a flat piece of metal. So maybe in the future, yep, and the space to put an English wheel and a power hammer and yeah, all those tools. It's also occurred to me, the question may already be popping into the comments box, why didn't I just use the side of the tank? Why cut that and weld it together when that's the side of a tank, isn't it? No, it's not. That's by no means the side of a tank. If I just take this piece, that is the bit that I cut off. So actually that and the welded line, that's the side of a tank. Effectively, that is 3/4 of the top of one side and 3/4 of the top of the other side welded together to give me enough material that it's that big or that wide for the job in hand. That's why I didn't just use the side of a tank, because obviously if I could I would have done, because it's far easier. But there we are, that's that done. Right, next thing. Somehow I'm going to work out how these, which are the back corners, well again 3/4 of the back corners, cut and then make the top bit like that. I need a cup of tea. Let's get on with it. Right, there we go. Let's have a little glance. Now, there's really no point in looking at it yet. It's so far from being anything like it's going to look, but it's about building the carcass of what I need so I can adjust and build from that, and that's exactly what I've done. I've got the main central focal point and I've built height into it that follows it along. Once I've had another couple of videos on this, this will start to look how I want it to, and I'll be able to stand back and actually say I'm proud of it. But at the moment, that is just raw material. It's something like 6 hours invested in just creating a blank that I can now start to slice up, chop up, shape and hone into something that's going to look like what's in here, which I couldn't even describe right now. I kind of, that's how it goes. But there we are, I've enjoyed it so far. Another little bit of fun and games and fabrication on the Harley already. So there we go, that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll update the board. Take it easy, ride safe. See you next time.
Well, while building shooters, those are bar names. Bar name Tims don't sound the same. Bikers riding scooters, women shooting darts, and everyone frowns when you let out a fart. Bar people ain't what they used to be. They all dress nice and have all their teeth.